Well, now that I've had this for, over a week, I feel compelled, to make a statement, you know, about how I feel about it and how it's fulfilled its promise or, you know, just how it works. To begin with, obviously I have a tubular layout, tubular rail, and I normally operated on, two LWs, and I've had no problem with it, running conventional locomotives. So now, we have this Lion Chief Plus, which uses this little gizmo here, and it's got a throttle for forward and back. It's got the button for the whistle and the button for the horn and the announcement button, an uncoupler button, and just to kind of go through the operation of it, it works fine on this tube track with this controller. I didn't have to tear up any track, change anything. I use my LW, and all you got to do is turn it up to 20 volts of power, 18 volts of power. Turn the little handheld unit on, and you're set to go, and it does everything it's advertised to do. If you try to run this thing just using the transformer, all you're going to get out of it is the synchronized chug. So it'll smoke and it'll make the chug noise, but it won't do anything else. If you don't want to use the handheld and you want to use all these other features, you have to use a chopped sine wave transformer that has a whistle button, a bell button, and I think if you hold the whistle button in, it'll initiate the crew talk feature, of your locomotive or your tender. But so as far as I'm concerned, it does what I want it to do. It works on my old track. I didn't have to change my transformer. I like using this thing. I can walk around my layout and adjust the speed of my train or whatever. Here's a couple things I want to mention. It has the coupling, uncoupling button here. If you push it twice real fast, the little coupler between the tender and the locomotive will open up. Between your first piece of rolling stock and your tender will open up, and the locomotive and tender can, go off on its own. Mine, it doesn't. If you back up and get it in the deal there, it doesn't close around the thing. So I backed it up real hard, to get it to couple. And when I did it, the very last car in the string derailed unknown to me. The back wheels came off the track. Well, it popped the breaker on the transformer, so I still didn't know, and I tried to go again, the breaker went, blah blah. So anyway, after I figured out what I did, I went on down the track, and it seemed like the whistle and all the noises it made were really, really low. So I went back to the program to adjust the volume, and when it derailed and energized the circuit breaker, somehow it went back to the default volume that came with the controller. So I had to readjust the sound part of this thing to the level that I like. So it's that sensitive. So the proof's going to be in the pudding, how long the boards in this can last, using tube track and these older transformers and that kind of stuff. Also noticed that the performance of it, pulling plastic cars, like these, and like all this string of cars, it seems to do very well. These cars don't weigh anything, and they have better trucks on them where they roll easier. But when I hooked up my 4 Williams passenger cars, it seemed like I had to put more throttle in it to go to the same speed if I was towing a big string of plastic, box cars. So I don't know if that's because the track lost power because of all the lights in the Williams cars, or they are heavier than plastic box cars. So, I don't know what the deal is there. So, it still pulled them easily, but it took more power, took more throttle to get it to perform the same. So, but anyway, I thought I'd just throw that in there. Now, for the looks of it, it's well finished. It's not scale looking because of the colors and the texture and a whole bunch of other stuff that goes along with these Chinese made locomotives. I think these old Lionel locomotives have more character, and they're more detailed, and they look more realistic than these new things. And but anyway, the bottom line is, am I happy with it? Yes, I am to this point. I like the way it performs. I like the deal. Once you set a speed in it, it maintains that speed regardless. And you're not constantly fiddling with the throttle. And, it's kind of a joy to operate. Plus, it smokes good, and the chug noise is in sync with the smoke puffs. And so I really like it, And to recommend it, I'll leave that up to you. But I like it. Is it worth the $388 I spent on it? The proof will be in its reliability and the survivability of the electronics in it. If this thing only lasts a year and electronics go belly up, then it wasn't worth that much money. But, if it lasts 10 years, I'd say it's worth it. This locomotive here is 60 years old, and it'll run circles around this new one, but it won't chug and puff smoke and make all the noises this one does, and you can't run it with your hand. So anyway, any questions you guys got, on this rig, I'll try to answer them. But to sum it up, I'm happy with it. I like what it does. I don't think it's as pretty as an older Lionel, but it still nevertheless is, I don't want to say novel, but I'm happy with it.